Hello there. To be perfectly honest, I don't watch baseball. Nor do I 100% understand the rules. Don't even get me started on the point system, that just confuses me even more. However, in the vast world of sports films, my favorite ones typically involve baseball. Those tend to be consistently quite good in how they're able to tackle the game, and baseball seems to lend itself to some very good stories. So with that, I'm going to count down my favorite baseball films, beginning with Fever Pitch. I haven't been all that impressed with the work of the Farrelly brothers, but this major departure for them into the realm of light-hearted romantic comedy was actually a sweet little film. Based on a British book revolving around football, this one actually revolves not on the players, but instead on the fans. Jimmy Fallon did very well in showing his character's obsession with the Boston Red Sox, and he displayed some strong chemistry with Drew Barrymore. When not trying to be as crude as possible, the Farrelly brothers managed to display a good knack for humor, and like any good romantic comedy, I rooted for these two to resolve their differences and get back together. In an interesting twist, they actually had to write a new ending after the Red Sox broke their long-running curse and won the World Series. I guess the stars aligned to give both the real players and this film a happy ending. Durham. Another romance intertwined with the world of baseball, this one features an enjoyable screenplay by Ron Shelton and some excellent performances by its actors. This is one of Susan Sarandon's best roles, and she plays off Kevin Costner very well. Tim Robbins also does strong work as the new young baseball player who catches her attention. The script itself is smartly written, with all three characters having interesting dynamic personalities. With great acting and an enjoyable script, Durham is definitely worth a look. The Bad News Bears. Going from adults to children, we encounter a different sort of underdog team. This is a raw sort of underdog story, and it's especially unique to see them portrayed as so ragtag, and throwing one profanity after another. Walter Matthau does a terrific job as their drunken coach, playing off the children very well. Tatum O'Neal also impresses in a trope rewriting role. After a while, his team becomes likable, and it's especially interesting to see the shift in Matthau's personality as he becomes more and more obsessed with winning. The final game is even quite exciting and throws a lot of curveballs into the script. It's very much a product of its era, which actually works to its advantage, as the more toned-down and less funny remake proves. A League of Their Own. Highlighting the female baseball league that was created during World War II, Penny Marshall does a very good job in showing what they had to deal with. There's a very good balance of comedy and drama in the screenplay, and the baseball scenes are actually a lot of fun. We get a good sense of the reaction to this idea, and while a lot of it is fictionalized, it is no less well constructed and gives a strong sense of the time period. Gina Davis and Lori Petty are believable sisters, and Tom Hanks is especially strong as the drunken teen coach. That seems to be a running trope in these baseball flicks. Each player is even their own memorable individual personality, and they all play off each other very well. In addition to hitting the right emotional spot, the script is also very funny. This could have easily been a true story, lifetime puff piece, but Marshall makes it work as a very worthy baseball film. 42. Even with my limited knowledge of baseball and its history, even I'm aware of the impact and importance of Jackie Robinson on the sport. Chadwick Boseman does a fantastic job of playing Robinson, and the film also manages to show the ridiculous segregation laws of the time period. While this is a standard biopic, it manages to hit the right spots in a sports film, and the growth of the other Dodgers players is also an interesting development. At no point does it become heavy-handed in its message, but merely attempts to show a man who beat the odds and the insults hurled at him. The Pride of the Yankees. Based on the life of Lou Gehrig, this is a heartfelt look at his life, dealing with his rise to the major leagues, his relationship with his mother, and eventually losing control of his nerve muscles. Gary Cooper does a fantastic job in the lead, selling both his baseball playing abilities, his soft side, and his harder edges. The film is certainly at its most emotional in its final act, when Gehrig starts developing the disease that would eventually bear his name. His famous speech about being the luckiest man on the face of the earth is certainly effective, and thus allows this to be one of the 5 best baseball films. The Natural. Showing that you can accomplish anything no matter what your age, The Natural also manages to hit the emotional spot. This could have easily been very cheesy and overdone, but director Barry Levinson and screenwriters Phil Dusenberry and the legendary Robert Towne managed to make it all piece together very nicely. Robert Redford successfully portrays his character as somebody with a hope to win that game, and like many great sports films, we root for him. That famous scene when Roy hits the ball into the lights is certainly one of the most magical moments in film history, and is wonderfully aided by Randy Newman's score. To me, this is one of those examples of doing a very sentimental story without ever entering schmaltiness. Angels in the Outfield. The original, not the more well-known remake. And yes, this one also has a magical element to it. Paul Douglas is great as a temperamental coach who tries to calmly allow his team to win. It also explores ideas of faith versus reality in an interesting way, but mostly it's heartwarming in a way that, like The Natural, doesn't overdo it. It's a smart screenplay, carefully handled, and managed to create believable characters in an unbelievable situation. If your only familiarity with the story is the Disney remake, then give this one a look. Moneyball. The idea of a baseball film revolving around mathematics seems like it could be boring, but the smart script by Steven Zaillian and Aaron Sorkin works in making it very fascinating and seeing this unique way of building the team. A large part of the fun in Moneyball, strangely enough, is hearing the algorithms of mathematics that went into this calculation. Brad Pitt also gives one of his best performances, giving a very natural presence to Oakland A's manager, Billy Beane, and he interacts very well with Jonah Hill. It's an interesting baseball film in that our protagonist doesn't even watch the games, and thus, while we don't get the big emotional ending where the players go around the plates, it's no less effective in its execution. And my personal favorite baseball film is Field of Dreams. Unlike the other movies on this list, this is not about winning the big game and improving the players' abilities from an underdog to being the top dogs. It is about a son reconnecting with his father through baseball. This is an excellent story about a man beating the odds, and even though he's faced with ridicule, he keeps it going to finally complete the thing that's been aching him for years. Kevin Costner is terrific in the lead role, and James L. Jones also provides outstanding work as a Salinger-type writer. The entire idea is inspired, and even the ghost of the famous Shoeless Joe is given plenty of depth. Director-writer Phil Alden Robinson put a lot of heart into the film and makes it hold up remarkably well, never once becoming cheesy. By taking Costner seriously, we take the entire story seriously. Field of Dreams is probably the closest we've come to a modern film replicating the feel of a Frank Capra flick, and that's a big compliment in my book. Even though baseball playing is relegated to merely the scenes where the former disgraced White Sox appear on the field, this nonetheless remains a fantastic entry into this subgenre. Remember, if you build it, they will come. Now if you excuse me, I'm going to try and figure out how this game works exactly.